Confessions of a Film Poser!
Special report. Vince, did you hear there's a new PTA movie coming out this week?
Parent-teacher assembly?
No, not. I'm not filming my kid's PTA meeting. I'm saying there's a new Paul Thomas Anderson movie, dude. This is big news.
Is it even Parent-Teacher Association? What is it? What's PTA?
I think it's Parent-Teacher Association. I don't know,
Okay,
though.
sweet.
If you know, put it in the comments. But yes, there is a new Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Paul Thomas Anderson's one of my favorite directors. New movie coming out by Paul Thomas Anderson is always an event. So we're going to throw the format off a little bit this week. Normally, we do an older movie that we've never seen and talk about it at the beginning and then review it at the end. There would be a little bit more of like a little bit of a summary history of the filmmakers involved, actors, story, whatever the case. But this week we're going to get right into it because this is something to celebrate. This movie has snuck up on me. First of all, Vince, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really flexing my film poserness this week. And I'm wondering, how many Paul Thomas Anderson movies have you seen?
Dude, first off, I think that this completely falls in with what we're doing because we're typically watching movies that are award-winning. People talk about these movies forever, and I feel like when it comes to Paul Thomas Anderson movies, I feel like they're all hits, dude. This guy really doesn't miss. I think I've seen most of his movies. I haven't seen Magnolia, which me and you have talked about, and it's added to my list to watch. There's one other one that I think I haven't seen. We saw Phantom Threads together.
Yes.
And it was a fun experience because it was a whole bunch of grandmas and then us. And then I think at some point a grandma picked up her phone to announce that she's in a movie, which I don't know if you remember that, but I thought it was super funny.
I remember that because we were making jokes going in about like, we're going to be the only ones under 40 here. And we went in and it was literally the average median age was like 65 years old.
Yeah.
And we just laughed. We laughed so hard about it. But yeah, Phantom Thread I love Phantom Thread. I mean, anything with, freaking Daniel Day-Lewis. And yeah, so I think PTA is one of those directors that you got to kind of stop what you're doing, go see it. I'm excited to kind of introduce this format into the format that we have. Typically, we do movies that have kind of a decades-long status, classic status, or just movies that you constantly hear about and are constantly referenced. This, I have to admit, snuck up on me. I didn't really know this movie was coming until I was about a month ago. I was watching a movie. Don't remember which one it was. It might have been Superman. And the preview for this played, and I went, oh my God, this looks really PTA, but really different at the same time.
Yeah, I have the AMC Movie Pass, so I've been going to movies a lot. This movie, they have as an advertisement for everything. So I've known that this movie's been coming. I've been excited, but it's almost the case where you see the trailer once or twice or three times. You're like, okay, that's cool. And then they just keep going and going.
Yeah.
And then I always question how well the movie is going to be received because I feel like whenever they really, really push a movie, it's because it may not be good, but I can't see this being that. I can't imagine this movie is going to be bad at all. This seems like it's the first action movie that he's made?
I think so. It's like a political action movie satire on the revolutionary set. It's the first movie he's done with Leonardo DiCaprio. Fun fact, Leonardo DiCaprio, I think, was up for the role in Boogie Nights and either got it and had to turn it down to do Titanic, or didn't get it because he was doing Titanic. But conversely, Mark Wahlberg, who was the star of Boogie Nights, was also in the running for Titanic. So I guess Paul Thomas Anderson and Leo DiCaprio have been wanting to work with each other. I love Leo DiCaprio. This is their first movie together, and the movie looks hilariously funny. This looks like it's going to be closer in the vein of maybe something like Inherent Vice. You know, a lot of PTA's movies are character studies, and they're character-based movies, and the plot isn't as important maybe as the characters are. Same thing with Licorice Pizza. I know Licorice Pizza was kind of divisive for people. I really loved it. Bradley Cooper steals the show in that movie. You know, he's got these moments where he's playing, who's the guy that he's playing? He's playing the hairdresser that used to be married to John Peters is who he's supposed to be playing, who like is a producer. He produced Batman, and Kevin Smith has an amazing story about when he wrote the Superman script in the 90s, went in for a meeting with John Peters, and John Peters had all these wild requests for things that he wanted to see in the script, one of which was large mechanical spiders. So it's really funny. Go watch that if you haven't seen that on YouTube, but I'm excited for this one, man. I know just enough about it. I've seen basically one trailer.
Yeah, I will say, PTA movies, he does such a good job of grounding the characters into like it feels like a human experience, which
Yeah.
I don't feel like a lot of other movies have that. Like you have characters, you'll have bigger actors that you know, like freaking DiCaprio. I feel like DiCaprio is going to step out of being DiCaprio, which in most movies it's him running around and you're just like, oh, this is the guy that I love. But I feel like this movie, I'm really excited because I feel like the characters that he makes, the storytelling that he develops throughout his movies, make you feel like this is an actual human being going through these like everyday situations, and sometimes it's crazy, and this movie seems like it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can throw him in the category of like a Tarantino in terms
Yeah,
of one of
exactly.
one. He makes his own movies, different style of movie completely, but the characters are his and they're Paul Thomas Anderson characters, and it's immersive in that way, to piggyback what you just said. And I think he's really good about doing that. Sometimes his movies run a little long,
Yeah, I
but
was looking at
he
the
usually
runtime
fills
for
the
all of
time
them.
well. And for some of these other movies that we've been watching recently, where we've kind of said, you could have probably tacked on another 20 minutes and flushed out the plot a little bit more. He does that, and I'm excited for this one. So there's only two movies. Going back to what you're saying, there's only two Paul Thomas Anderson movies I haven't seen. One is Heart 8, which was his first movie, and I've never seen Magnolia. Don't know why, just never seen it.
Ooh.
The only movie of his that I really have not cared for is Punch Drunk Love. That is not my favorite. Both I like Adam Sandler as a dramatic actor, as weird as that sounds. Sandler in the 90s, comedy wise, had a run like I don't know that anybody else has had. But later in his life, when he started to do more serious movies, I think he really pulls a lot of them off. I just didn't love that movie. I didn't love that character. It's like, when I saw Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems is such an effective movie, and it's so good and realistic that I don't ever think I want to watch it again, because he gets on your nerves. The plot or the story is so crazy and stressful. So I think that's like a compliment to the filmmakers. They achieved, I think, what they were going for. But
Yeah, it's a
there's only
frantic movie. I
yeah.
do have to say, I love Punch Drunk Love.
Okay.
I thought it
And
was so good.
you know what? That might be one that I need to revisit. There Will Be Blood is my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie. It's an incredible movie, top to bottom. The Master, dude.
I haven't
Freaking
seen The Master.
dude, one of the best Joaquin Phoenix, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is just so good in it. Without further ado, should we pass it off to future Vince and Eli?
3, 2, 1. Well, hello there, dude.
Hey, Vincent, how are you doing, bud?
I'm doing pretty good. I just got back from the movies. What are you up to?
I literally just walked in the door from seeing one battle after another, and I got words for it, dude. It was a movie.
It was a movie. All right. I have a few questions before we get started.
Yes.
Was the theater full when you went?
No, there's 5 people.
There were 6 people in mine, one couple, and the rest were just single dudes, me included.
Yeah, I think this movie is going to have a hard time finding an audience. I think that's kind of typical for Paul Thomas Anderson movies. Like, if you know kind of a thing, or they get like Oscar buzz and it makes people go see it. But I think this one's going to be a little bit more divisive than the normal fare. How do
It,
you feel about that?
I feel the same. I feel like we kind of breached or talked about this briefly before we started. I I can't find any connections to his past works with this one. Can you?
I think the style was there for sure. I think the character study, which all of his movies pretty much are. This one had a much more linear plot, and I thought was so. I'll go into just I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really good. I thought Leonardo DiCaprio. This might be the best Leonardo DiCaprio role I've seen, where he goes outside of Leonardo DiCaprio. You had mentioned in the first part that he's kind of Leonardo DiCaprio and like with different names and stuff. And I think sometimes that's true. There's a handful of movies I thought he did really, really great and went outside of himself in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and The Revenant.
The
Yeah, I
Revenant for
thought
sure.
I thought his performance was absolutely stellar. Yeah, but I see some kind of earmark Paul Thomas Anderson. It definitely felt like the culmination of all his movies, in the way that the story was told. Some of the shots, some of the wide shots, some of the camera movement. I thought the editing was, I kept noticing how great the editing was in this movie, how things cut back and forth between, different storylines that were going on. But yeah, I felt overall like the kind of dark humor, like there's serious themes and there's dark moments, but then it's undercut with some humor. And I thought the first part of this movie, when you're actually into I mean, let's be honest, they're terrorists basically. They're like a rebellion group that's going against government, going against ICE and immigration enforcement. And so the beginning of this movie was a lot, because the trailer would make you believe it was like kind of a straight up comedy, and it was in a lot of parts. But in that first part, I didn't get that, so I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, I didn't like the first part. And I think like maybe it's like 15 or 20 minutes for my like for the first part of it. And the characters and the storyline, I was like, "Oh no, this isn't what I thought it was going to be." And I don't think I like it. I don't know if you felt the same. I didn't like the I don't even know like the group of what are, I don't want to say terrorists, but what are the rebellion?
It's playing on things from our world, like the Weather Underground, which was like a 60s and 70s kind of like eco terrorist group. So it's definitely playing on those kind of the group, like that group from the past. Also, it's I think what's going on in our modern world. Um, and so yeah, it's a little bit darker, a little bit more serious, a lot more political in statement. But and the characters aren't as likable, but I really felt like as the movie went on, that was used well to create the humanity of the story and of the characters and their relationship to each other. Whether or not you agree with the politics in this movie, I think that there are themes and there are moments shared and character development shared between all the characters in the movie. I think with Perfidia and the way that it starts and her her kind of internal warrior, right, which is very important throughout the course of the story, not only in her relationship with Sean Penn's character, but also I think later on when we see her daughter, I think that plays into it. But yeah, I liked it. I think maybe I liked it in the overall of the story. If you just take that one segment, it's not the movie that it looks like in the trailers. But I felt like it also heightened when it did get to the more comedic beats towards the second act. Basically up until the point of where she has the baby. And then you see Leonardo's character become a dad. And it was funny because he's more of the responsible one in that moment. And that definitely played into who he was when his daughter Charlene is the name. The Charlene is the name of his daughter, but they have they're like on the run, so they have different names. So Leonardo DiCaprio's name is Bob, and I don't remember. It's like Willa. That's what it is, Willa.
They actually on IMDb they don't even list the daughter.
Yeah, she's in there. She's just down a little bit. Chase Infinity is the name of the actress. Like I said, let's go back to Leonardo DiCaprio because I feel like Leonardo DiCaprio is a funny actor. You wouldn't call him a comedian because he's not a comedian. He is an actor, but like so many great actors that do comedic turns, he really turns it on in this movie. And I was so impressed by that. And, props obviously to Paul Thomas Anderson because a lot of that is direction and what's on the page. But Leo just took that character and he was so relatable. I mean, there's so many moments in this where he's in the mode when, when they kind of time jump, I think like 15, 16 years.
16 years, yeah.
When his daughter becomes a teenager. And so you see him kind of as this deadbeat dad, ex-revolutionary that's that's kind of renewed.
The passwords, he's forgotten.
Yeah.
Every aspect of it.
And that was one of the funniest things was he's in this constant struggle, right? Because he's a burnout. He smokes weed. There's this great scene before he goes into like a parent teacher conference and he's ripping a bowl in his car and he's like airing it out. And like, I love that. I love that movie thing because, he's airing it out even though, he walked into that high school just reeking of pot.
Oh, for sure. And then he has his little vape pen, which you never see, but you always just see him go.
Yeah,
and blow it out.
He's ripping a vape. But he's in this parent teacher conference, and there's still some of that revolutionary there. And he's sitting there talking. And he's like, "Oh, you're teaching history, huh?" And there's a line that made me laugh where you don't see it. They don't pan to the shot, but he looks on the wall. He goes, "Oh, there's the Grand Dragon, Benjamin Franklin."
It was really good, and like you already said, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first part of the movie, but it did kind of set up the story that they were attacking, and then all this crazy shit happened, and then even Benicio Del Toro's character says later, like, "Oh, we're still in the defense," and then finally, towards halfway, like towards the end of the movie, he's like, "It's now we're on offense, my friend," and then they go off. So it was needed. I didn't really care for a lot of the characters. But then the rest of the movie, all of those characters for the most part are gone, and it's just Leo and his daughter. And you're introduced to Benicio del Toro's character, which I absolutely loved. He
Yeah.
was
So was
so
he
good.
was he part? He was part of the separatist group, right? Or he was part of the
He's
rebellious
I
group.
don't know if he was part like it seems like in this world they have like a huge group of different
Yeah, it's like a
groups.
network of people.
Yeah, it's like a network of separatists or whatever. But there's the part where he's on the phone and he Leo's on the phone and he can't remember the password, and Benicio says he's on
81,
815,
815. Well,
but it
there's
turns out
also
that's not even the password.
there's this great line that he has to Leo too, where Leo's apologizing, he's freaking out, and he goes, "We've been under siege for 200 years, man. You did nothing wrong."
Yeah,
I thought that was really funny. But it's called the name of the group, by the way, just so we have it right and it's in our head. It's the French 75. But I thought that they said when the guy that's hired to kill Sean Penn also does a fantastic job. I mean, he's very much over the top. But that's the other thing about Paul Thomas Anderson movies. A lot of these characters are way over the top, even though the subject matter a lot of times is serious. I mean, there's jokes in there, but the subject matter is serious. But Sean Penn is so evil and so monstrous in this movie. He does a great job. I know, Sean Penn is very polarizing, but there's performances Sean Penn has given
yeah. I'm
that
not a big fan of Sean Penn, and this I felt like although he played the villain of it, I feel like he did a really good job, and
he
you
did a
can
great
tell.
job.
Yeah, and you can tell that there's like you were saying, like the characters are exaggerated, and especially his character, like even the way that he walks and stuff, he's like the typical army man that you would think of in like a story but not in real life. He plays that character where he's just like
Yeah.
the way that he moves and stuff. He was a fucking monster, dude,
Well,
honestly.
you could tell Sean Penn's disdain for authority figures comes out in this role because the way he played it. He was, in any other movie, it would have been pretty cartoony, but
Hmm.
I felt like he did a really, really good job. But yeah, when the group of, what is it? Hail Christmas? No, Hail Saint Nick. It was the Christmas gang or Christmas Adventurers Club.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Christmas
so hard
Adventures.
having this movie. Like we're so used to being able to like kind of set up our notes and set up all this stuff. So it's hard for me to remember those details. But yeah, it was the Christmas Adventure Club, which was like a white supremacist
Yeah, it's like a cadre of dudes that were pulling the strings behind the scenes, and they were like white power people or white supremacist group. And so Sean Penn's character wants to become part of this group because they're the ones that in this movie kind of pull the strings. But there's a moment where they find out, and the twist, spoilers, again, we're late into this, but this is, spoilers. There's a moment in this where they figure out in the twist of the movie, Charlene, Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter, isn't really his daughter. It's Sean Penn's daughter in the movie. And Sean Penn's character's name is Colonel Stephen J. Lockjaw. So even the name is cartoony too. But you find out that it's actually his daughter, that she basically, the mom, Perfidia, trying to get out of the situation, like sleeps with him, and so she gets pregnant, and you think it's Bob's daughter, but it's actually Sean Penn. Well, this supremacist group, Christmas Adventures, I don't remember the name of it.
it was kind
So
of a
silly.
weird, like I wasn't sure what they're going for
Yeah.
with it, because they're even like Merry Christmas whenever they like leave the little group.
No, they say Hail Saint Nick.
Oh, okay.
Like,
But
and
didn't
and
they
so
like even shake hands and say like Merry Christmas or something?
well, I think it was Christmas time in the story, but yeah, there's definitely a Christmas component that I couldn't really figure out.
Yeah.
But they tell him that there's a person from the French 75 that is harboring illegal immigrants, and then Benicio earlier in the movie has the line where he's like, "Yeah, I'm doing like a Latino Harriet Tubman," which I thought was another great line in the movie. So I think he was connected. If not, then yes, there's a network of just kind of these revolutionaries running around, and they work to kind of get people freed. But I thought, like, my final word on what you said, I enjoyed the first act because you don't get to the middle and the end without that first act, and that's what propels the whole thing. And I feel like it really set everything up great. And overall, I really, really, really like this movie.
I agree. Have a good night, dude.
One other thing we talked about was the score. I'm always hammering the score because I feel like the score is something that doesn't get talked about enough, but it's something in the movie that a lot of times when used well is a character in and of itself, and this one's no different. I mean, it's kind of unrelenting. The score is kind of always there, and it's always kind of telling you as the bed of the music bed in this movie, kind of the temperature of what's going on.
The score was like really jazzy at some points, and it matched like the hectic nature of what was being filmed perfectly. Video, like cinematography wise, the car chase and the hills, probably like one of my favorite scenes from the movie. It was filmed so cool and so suspenseful, where it's like zoomed in on the street and you just see the lumps and he's getting closer and closer. I saw someone talking about how only Paul Thomas Anderson can make a car chase with 3 cars on a giant road, like so suspenseful. And I was like, oh, I'm wondering to see what that scene's all about. And I loved it. It was so good.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of those scenes went on a little too long.
Oh, I was in for it, dude.
And I know that they built that to help build the suspense, but I didn't feel like the suspense wasn't really broken after those scenes were done. I thought what was going to happen after that dude hits Charlene's car and totals, like, and then she shoots him. I thought Bob was going to roll up after there in that beater car, which was also hilariously funny.
Yeah.
With it had like the body kit and the spoiler, and it made that sound that crappy cars like Jettas make when they're old and souped up. But so that was cool. But I this movie is long, and there's scenes like that I felt like could have been shortened down a little bit. But that's cool. I get why you liked it, but you're more of a car guy too, so you enjoy
more of a car guy and more of like photography, and I can watch long scenes if they're beautiful, and I have no issue with them at all. Another one of my favorite scenes was whenever Leo was on the roof running from the cops with all the skaters, and he sees them jump across buildings, and he goes for it and misses it and hits the tree and falls like 40 feet. I was not expecting that at all, dude.
There's a line in this that so Leo's on the phone because he can't remember the code words, and this guy won't give it to him without the code words. So he's like losing his mind, and he goes full revolutionary Karen on the guy and asks basically to speak to his manager. And he tells the guy, he goes, "I'm calling into Greyhawk 10, Comrade Josh." That was the line of the movie for me. And he just kept saying it. "I'm calling in Greyhawk 10.
It's so funny, dude.
So good. So good.
Dude. Will you see this movie again in theaters?
Yeah. I'll definitely buy this movie when it comes out and add it to the Paul Thomas Anderson collection. Absolutely, I will. I won't go so far as to say, and this is the question I posed to you as well. What about you? Before we get there, what about you? Is this a movie that you would watch again?
This is definitely a movie that I want to own. I'm thinking about going to the theater to see it again. It is long, though, so it would have to be like a weekend where I don't have much going on. But I do want to watch it again.
And it's the kind of movie, really quick, and it's the kind of movie that, and I think this goes back to what you were talking about with the first act. It's not a movie you can kind of piecemeal out. You got to watch it. And just the story it tells and the way it fleshes itself out and the highs and lows, I think really pays off and leaves for a satisfying ending.
Yeah, and I feel like PTA movies, you're kind of talking about like how he makes his characters real. There's so many small situational conversations that happen in this movie, like whenever the daughter's friends pull up and he keeps calling her friend homie and like checking him out.
Oh, dude.
And then like even the pronoun thing, like it's not anything that drives the story any further. It's just that situation, and it's written so well and so funny. And Yeah, what's up, homie? What's so
Well, and
good, dude?
and it shows that he's like this aged out like revolutionary, right?
Yeah,
He's not even he's so disconnected that he doesn't even understand, and he tries, right? And he's trying to understand and be like, no, I want you to tell me the way you feel and stuff, but he also can't handle it. And he's got a red line, which is protecting his daughter, which I thought that as a father, that was one of the things that I connected with as well in this movie that I thought was good. This movie on the whole reminded me a lot of Phantom Thread. I mean, not in subject matter at all, but the way that it told the story. And there's certain Paul Thomas Anderson movies, Inherent Vice, Licorice Pizza, and I would even say going back to something like Boogie Nights. Which, have you seen Boogie Nights? I think that was one of the ones. Boogie Nights is great. I just rewatched that, and the end it ends well, but it doesn't give you. It kind of walks back. It's like the heart of the movie a little bit. I don't know. And if you see it differently, put it in the comments for sure, because I see how you could be of two minds with that movie, but that one's great. But Phantom Thread, just in the kind of pacing and some of the dialogue in the scenes and the music for sure. And that's another one I want to go back and rewatch because I haven't seen it since it came out in theaters, but I'll definitely rewatch it. So you said that you would rewatch it. So what's your rewatchability score?
I'd give this a 4.5. I really did like it. And
out of 5?
Out of 5, yeah. I like the silliness of this movie. For as serious as the situations are,
yeah,
it's always broken up by something funny. And there's probably so many other things that I didn't catch, so that's why I'd want to watch it again for sure. What about you?
I would say that if for me, Paul Thomas Anderson, There Will Be Blood is a 5 out of 5. This would probably be a 4 out of 5 for me. I don't think it's as watchable as some of his other stuff. And that's my next question to you. This is what I was going to bring up is where does this one rank in terms of his other movies for you? For me, I think the up, on one end of the spectrum is There Will Be Blood is like,
the top,
top, and then at the bottom for me would be Punch Drunk Love. I would put this. I would probably put this in there with Inherent Vice, and I love Inherent Vice. Do you have anything else on the movie that you want to add? This one's kind of short and sweet. Like I said, we're mixing up the format a little bit. So thanks for joining us. Go see One Battle After Another. I mean, if nothing else, like we need movies like this in the cinema. We need movies that are different, movies that make you think, movies that emotionally whip you up, and not just the same, chuffa, as Bruce Willis calls it, that we're kind of getting from the studio. So go out and support this movie. Go see it. If it makes you mad, put in the comments why it makes you mad. If it makes you happy, put in the comments why it makes you happy. Thank you guys so much again for watching and hanging out with us. We're here every Sunday, so come on back. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Give us a like. And get active in that comment section. We really want to hear what you guys have to say.
Yeah, let us know if you liked our live reactions to a new movie, and maybe we'll do it again.
Honestly, just give me more of an excuse to buy a movie theater pass so I can go to movies whenever I want.
I was thinking about it, and I have the AMC A-list whatever, and I was like, maybe whenever we do like the new movie things, maybe we can call it like the B-list or something. We'll talk about it.
We'll definitely talk about that one. You'll have to come up with a graphic. B-list Vince Flex.
Yeah, dude. I'll just Photoshop your face on Charlize Theron or whatever when she's sitting in the AMC by herself. In the nicest theater I've ever seen.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman.
Dude, then they cut that one down, so it's not the same. It's not what it used to be.
I'm glad they did. It was long, dude.
It was long. All right, go out and see Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another, and watch his whole catalog. Let us know what you think. We'll see you here next week. Thanks, guys.
Confessions of a Film Author.